Good evening. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening with your Monday night update. So we are sitting at 6:02 Celtic Park time, and there has been no announcement by Celtic as Martin O'Neill was manager. I didn't think Martin O'Neill would be announced today, but Martin O'Neill is not out the running. There's been some interesting developments today, actually, and there has been when it comes to the manager's job. Scott Brown, and by the way, we're at 26,855. Come on, yes! Thank you. No, seriously. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I completely, honestly. Do you want me to give me some Baz love on this? No. Thank you. Can we hit 27,000 before Celtic announce a new manager? Come on, my face. No, Robbie Keane, no. Scott Brown is on holiday. Scott Brown is in Portugal playing golf today. And I suspect that Scott Brown is on holiday with his family because he is part of the BBC Scotland World Cup coverage team. So Scott Brown won't be thinking about football management, but there is a bit of an update with regards to a potential dream team at Celtic Park. Would this be the dream team at Celtic Park? It is understood that Robbie Keane wants a backroom staff at Celtic of Scott Brown, and a certain little winger. Still at the club, isn't he? Is he not training the background staff? Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes were obviously overseeing Robbie Keane as part of their training for coaching. They went over and seen him, and they're all good mates from their time at Celtic. It would be an interesting one if it did happen. Would it be the dream team, or is it the kind of thing? Is this the type of thing that gives the Celtic board the fear? Would it be a dream team, or would it be a nightmare scenario for Celtic? I mean, has Scott Brown would be coming back as a number two. He's not done enough to get anywhere near the manager's job himself. Johnny Hayes is at Celtic already. For what I believe, he's down training the one of the lower teams at Celtic. Tell me in the comments, do you think that Robbie Keane, Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes would be an ideal managerial team at Celtic? Keane's definitely in the running. Anyway, in other Celtic news, it's not just Robbie Keane that is in it. The links after Robbie Keane allegedly had word with Celtic today, it's believed that he is still just one of the candidates. One of the candidates for the job. Martin O'Neill's firmly still in there. It seems unfair on Martin, but it could be done and dusted tonight. If Robbie Keane accepts the job tonight, and if Celtic do accept Robbie Keane's demands, that Scott Brown, would Scott Brown cut short his holiday to come back to be announced as part of the Celtic backroom team, or would he just allow Robbie Keane to get the limelight and then Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes turn up later? I think it would just be Scott. I think they would just let Robbie Keane do it, wouldn't they? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a weird one. Don't know. Could ask Scott's brother, but he wouldn't tell me. Anyway, we move on from that because in other Celtic news, a lot of people were talking this morning about Colby Donovan being out of contract. Now, I'm sure that we had found out that he was contracted to 2028, But it's come out today by the Herald Group papers. They've found out that Colby Donovan is contracted to Celtic until 2028. I thought it was. Don't know why we thought otherwise. And then and the news goes on tonight. It just doesn't stop. If you're looking for good news, Robbie Keane has won leagues. If it's not Martin O'Neill, Keane is the best bet. Get your comments in. How many players have Celtic lost today with loans leaving and players running out of contract? Woofed. There's one thing for sure. There's one player that isn't out of contract. Martin O'Neill's director of football, Keane as manager, Brown and Maloney backroom staff. It's not going to be Maloney. Maloney's going upstairs. Maloney's already been interviewed. Maloney was seen at Celtic Park with his suit on. It's mental that you go to your own work with a suit on when he's obviously, well, he's getting interviewed. He was obviously getting interviewed for a higher position within the club. I think that could be, if Martin O'Neill was to be asked to stay at the club, not so much as the director of football, because we don't have a director of football. If Sean Maloney is going to take over the post that Paul Tisdale had, Sean Maloney takes over the post that Paul Tisdale had. Could it be the fact that Martin O'Neill was then offered a position higher than Sean Maloney, which would mean something at maybe boardroom level? I still think the chairman's the best thing for Martin O'Neill. Chairman, you don't have to be there on an ongoing basis. You know, we've got an interim chairman that's there just now. It's nonsense. Don't know. Get that Labour politician away from our club and get Martin O'Neill. I called for Martin O'Neill to be chairman before Brendan Rodgers disappeared. You know, I think that when we were all trying to get rid of Peter Lawwell back then, there was only one person that I thought. And when it comes to age, experience, and love of the club, Martin O'Neill as chairman just fits him like a glove. He doesn't have to be in and around Celtic Park on a daily basis. Do you know, he might not be chairman material. That's the only thing. Do you know, I don't know if Martin O'Neill would necessarily have the business acumen. That's the only thing. So maybe the board are looking and saying, but Martin, you've never run big businesses before. Don't know, you've and that's the kind of thing that would hold them back. So there has to be some kind of position that would be made available for Martin O'Neill to take over at Celtic. Either way, I think that he should be retained at Celtic in some. I'm just running through some of the comments. Martin O'Neill on the board, Maloney and Causey Tisdale. Maloney and Causey Cozzo Tisdale. Brown assistant, Fozzie first team coach. Paddy McCourt coming in for the club girl. Paddy McCourt? What the hell, Ralph? Why? I'm sure you just make stuff up, mate. Paddy McCourt. He was a raging steamer when he was at Celtic. He's no coming back to Celtic, mate. I think Martin O'Neill will be chairman, Maloney as director of football, Robbie Keane as a manager. That's looking likely. In other news, Arnie Engels. I'm going to jump on the transfer market just to double check this one because it's coming out from the journalist that broke the news that Arnie Engels was coming to Celtic in the first place. But it looks like Arnie Engels has changed agent. Arnie Engels, who is on holiday with his gorgeous missus. Have you seen Arnie Engels' missus? Tell you, football players always I'm punching away above my weight level, honestly, with my missus. But football players just do it like times 10, don't they? Anyway, my missus is just stunning. Let's do Arnie Engels in the transfer market just to double check that his agent has changed today. A lot of people saying that it has. When did that change though? DWMA football agency. Let's see if they've put anything out on their socials. If he has just changed agent, well, the story is that Arne Engels has changed agency. He wants to take his next step in his career after Celtic FC. Several Premier League clubs, including Serie A club AC Milan and Roma, are monitoring the situation. Sell him for 25 million plus. Simple as. Sell him for 25 million plus. Well, we're offered 25 million in the winter window. We knocked it back. I think that's the starting point for Arne Engels. A lot of Celtic fans will say he's no worth 25 million in the modern market. Unfortunately, he is. I could see Aidan McGeady getting a job in the management staff. Not a chance. Not a chance. Paddy McCourt. That's the new name I've heard being hounded around. Big Rab, you were one of the ones that said that Martin O'Neill was going to be manager today. Didn't happen. Paddy McCourt is not happening at Celtic. Jesus, honestly. If Paddy McCourt comes back at Celtic, you better lock away the drinks cupboard. That's all I'm saying. We can only speculate. Well, we can't only speculate, but the mainstream media, once they start to get a sniff of the management stuff, it's been proven before, they aren't far off it. So the mainstream media tonight are talking about that Martin O'Neill is still in the frame. He is talking about the fact that they are also talking about that Robbie Keane, who has been interviewed tonight, wants Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes in his coaching staff. And in other news today, coming out of Wales, Craig Bellamy has revealed that he has already turned down offers to stay with Wales. Bellamy has publicly committed his future to Wales despite attracting interest from elsewhere. Craig Bellamy is committed to his future to Wales. He's turned down offers from elsewhere. Was one of those offers from Celtic? Despite not getting to the World Cup, Bellamy has seemingly attracted several admirers. Burnley and Celtic were both to believe have taken particularly keen interest in him, and Welsh recently relegated West Ham or another club to be linked with him. However, he has reiterated that his commitment to lead Wales into the upcoming Euro 2028 campaign, which will be hosted in the UK, although he admits he would like to move into club football management at some point. He says that he does miss every day-to-day football stuff. He says coming up and ahead of his upcoming friendly with Ghana, I missed not being able to do this every single day. But of course, I knew what was coming into as well when I stepped into international management. And that is interesting. So Craig Bellamy looks as if he has decided that no means no. Keane is not a proven manager. Really? He's won at his last couple of clubs. He's won titles at his last couple of clubs. So if Keane comes to the club, Baz, there'll be even more divide and blow up than last season. Maybe that's why Keane wants to bring in Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes just to settle the field a bit. He may be able to do a job, but the politics run too deep. Whoa. No, Scott Brown has failed at 2 clubs already. Well, Scott Brown would be a number 2, not a number 1. To be honest, it doesn't think what we all think. Dermot Desmond will call the shots. For me, Keane, Bruni, Hayes sounds ideal for future development with Martin O'Neill as CEO. That's the interesting one, because if it is Keane and he does bring those 2 in, with Martin O'Neill getting a job upstairs, it is the board kind of saying, we're going to give you big Celtic love bombs at this moment. Let's jump through. Take 2022 for Engels plus a 15% sell-on clause. I think it will be more than a 15% sell-on clause that Celtic would be looking for. 8 to 10 for Dyson Maeda. That is interesting. 8 to 10 for Dyson. I think we'll get a bit more from him. I think Robbie Keane will be announced soon. Him packing his job. and then turning up at Celtic Park just seems likely. Whoever our managers, we all won't be pleased, but we'll all have to get behind whoever it is. Should have went for Jens when we had the chance. Doesn't look. Just you're wrong. I never said Martin O'Neill was going to be announced today. A lot of people did last night on the channel. Just saying. Um, a lot of people did. Did he not win the league and cup with two teams? Yes, he did. Talking about Robbie Keane. I like the idea of Keane and Brown. I think that could work. O'Neill, if he goes upstairs, Engels is adjusting and needs to play his own game along as the manager can use him. Arne Engels will not be here after this summer, that is for sure. It's between Martin O'Neill and Robbie Keane. It's looking like that when it comes to Celtic news stuff. Let's just do a quick update. And there's a Celtic are ready to move for a midfielder. Celtic have had scouts in Hungary. And where's Robbie Keane just been managing? Hungary. Sometimes the most obvious is staring you in the face, isn't it? Celtic have been looking at a player in Hungary, a 24-year-old midfield player with a real potential. I think that things will start to speed up as soon as the manager's decision has been made. It is looking like that we are going to get some kind of decision before the end of the week. Any word on season ticket numbers? Not a thing. Last week it was suggested that season ticket numbers had collapsed and was around about the there was around about 10 to 15,000 short on what it was last season. If Dyson Maeda had a good World Cup, it might be 12 plus for Dyson. Bring back Wilfred Nancy. Someone's on the wind up. Um, and it won't be Stephen that's on this channel. Thanks for that, Pubcat, but it won't be Stephen that's on this channel. Yeah, Europa League. I think that's one of the reasons that Robbie Keane has been looked at for what he did with his team in Europe. I flew through it, Rob. It was it's weird. Spanish MOT. You go to this. I mean, it's massive, industrial size MOT stations, and then you go in, you put your number in, you double check your reg plate. You then go to the desk, get your ticket, you wait your number coming up, you go to the desk, you pay for your MOT, she gives you your receipt, and then you go and sit in the car and you sit and wait on the lights coming up, your number plate coming up, and then it tells you what bay to drive into, and then you wait in line, and then you just go through and get it done, and then you sit at the end and he prints it off, and he prints off your wee sticker that you stick on the window. Nice. The young Hungarian looks the part. Our goals Sunday morning, League Division 4. What? What? What league is real potential in? Says Chris. Hungary. Yeah, hopefully he's found safe and well, Pubcat. Hopefully he's found safe and well. But the only reason I know that it wouldn't be Stephen is I know his disabilities and he's no out wandering the streets. As we said. I just want the manager sorted so we can get moving on transfers. Well, we do have a couple of days before the transfer window opens. It does look as if everything is heating up. Ooh. The the Scotsman is now talking about Craig Bellamy, and they're now running the story with Craig Bellamy. And it looks like a straight fight for the job, square go. Martin O'Neill, sucker punch. You know how Martin O'Neill can just like, it's a classic case of the the hare and the tortoise, wasn't it? It's like Hearts were the hare, run away. Martin O'Neill was the tortoise. Just if we do it, we do it. Just take your time. We'll get there in the end. A fortnight tonight it opens. Do you think that Keane would want Casper Doe? I think Keane will want a prolific goal striker. Don't know, and there's one thing for sure: he won't accept mediocrity when it comes to the striking department. Maybe we need someone like Robbie Keane as manager to give the club the kick up the arse that they need. Will be interesting if there's any photographs. I'm sure that there'll be pesky Celtic fans hanging about Celtic Park tonight. If it is tonight, and if it is at Celtic Park, I don't think that Robbie Keane particularly is coming up to Celtic Park to be interviewed. These interviews kind of take place down in London. Historically, don't know. Whilst Sean Maloney might have got interviewed at Celtic Park for obvious reasons, I don't think Keane is flying up to Glasgow. I think that this is it's private meetings in hotels down in London, like it's usually done by Celtic Football Club. But there's one thing for sure: it does look like that it's heating up, and we are on 26,855. Can we get to 27,000 before the new manager? It's Hoch said ho. Bad one. Bellamy said he was out. Really hope that was that we have a candidate that no one is talking about. Yeah, we spoke about Craig Bellamy. It's all over the media now also. And let me just see this one. Interesting. No manager, no director of football, no chairman. Hopefully everything will be sorted before the Champions League playoff. It's looking as if it will be sorted in the next, I'm going to say, 48 hours. I think that we're now seriously looking at a 48-hour timeline, which would take it to Wednesday. If Bellamy's the level of the manager that we're looking at, generally feel that we're actually fucking for next season before a ball is kicked. There's a lot of teams looking at Bellamy. Don't know. I think that Bellamy comes in. Is Bellamy similar type of manager? Doesn't matter who ends up in the hot seat. The board need to show up, says Martin. And just bouncing up the M1 on a kangaroo. No, he's not. And you'll be at the World Cup doing TV stuff. But Emily hasn't done one thing in the game as manager. One task and he failed. Massive risk. John Barn vibes. Rab, you need to go and check out Craig Bellamy's managerial career. Let's do it live. People say, well, I suppose that Craig Bellamy. I mean, yeah, I don't want Craig Bellamy. Let's just put it that way. I don't think that. I can understand the links with Craig Bellamy, but manager profile. He won the second tier champion. He was Anderlecht assistant manager. He was Anderlecht under 21 manager. He was Burnley assistant manager. He was assistant to Vincent Company. Hmm. Nah, it's not he's not a guy that would shout. To be fair, I get Wilfred Nancy fear when I hear Craig Bellamy. I just don't think that he'll be. I think that my gut feeling now is that it's down to two. It is down to Martin O'Neill and Robbie Keane. Whether Celtic fans like that or not, that is the big question. That is the big question. Let's get some more of your comments in this evening. That's why O'Neill is the logical choice right now. The options aren't good enough. But then Martin O'Neill is a short term. Who's to say that the options will be better in a year's time? Who's to say that the club could keep Martin O'Neill? I've got to play devil's advocate with this one, and I've got to weigh up the pros and cons of if it is down to two. Let's weigh up the pros and cons for Martin O'Neill and Robbie Keane and the dream team. I don't like saying that. We had a dream team at Celtic before, and it was the shambles of a shambles. Martin O'Neill, proven manager, excellent, fantastic manager. Took us all the way to Seville as a manager. Manager 26 years ago. Came into Celtic and done amazing things. People were bored of Martin O'Neill's football towards the end. Martin O'Neill's football last season, you can blame the players, but Martin O'Neill's football, it wasn't the greatest. There was we turned up in a half a game. Are you prepared? Are you prepared for a season of that? I mean, it's great to watch Celtic scoring last minute goals and everything, but can you take that for a full season? He got fantastic results in Europe, and so did Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane's got his team further than Celtic's ever got in Europe. May have not have been the Champions League, but it was the Europa. And on a budget that is far less than what he would have at Celtic, I do believe. Bellamy equals John Barnes risk. Yeah, I think so, mate. I think we're both agreed on that one. That is for sure. But when it gets down to maybe they will interview Keane. Ha ha. That's why it has to be a Neil. The choices aren't good enough right now. I think there's a lot of good managers out there that has the potential to become a good Celtic manager. It depends on the objective of the Celtic board, doesn't it? If the objective of the Celtic board is just let's just win the league and get into Europe and keep the finances going, bank some more money so that we can tart up Celtic Park a bit. We've paid off for Barrowfield's paid off. Not due any money out on that. We've upgraded Lennox Town. It was needing a bit of an upgrade. There's nothing needing done on that. Could it be the fact that the board are kind of thinking, okay, if we don't get the Champions League this year, we're going to need that bank of cash, but let's try and get the Champions League. Who could be the best manager to try and get us into that Champions League? Would it be Martin O'Neill, who couldn't do it as manager before? Couldn't take us to he didn't have a great managerial record in the Champions League. Could it be Robbie Keane, younger manager? Could it be the fact bring in Robbie Keane, bring in the dream team, and have that as a 3-4 year plan where you've already got a, someone that's at Celtic. So you've got Scott Brown. The fans would love to have Scott Brown back in some capacity, not as manager, because he's not done it as manager. I think that he's got the potential to go down a Paul Lambert type scenario as a manager on his own. Could he be a number? Would he accept? Here is the big thing. Would he accept being a number two, having been in management himself? Would he accept? Maybe it's already been spoken about. Do you know, we're talking about something that, let's be honest, if you're over in Hungary, seeing your old mate that played together, it's apart from Johnny Hayes, he didn't play with Robbie Keane. Do you know, Johnny Hayes played with Scott Brown, Celtic daft. You've got three guys that get Celtic. You've got three guys that want the best for Celtic. You've got that obvious Irish connection. You've got the Robbie Keane baggage. Does that really matter when you get a management team? My only fear with this type of scenario is it hasn't bode well for other clubs that have went down the road to bring in sort of ex-players and that type of thing. And I wouldn't want Celtic to, if it was a failure, and they would all tarnish their reputations with Celtic, that's for sure. But it's kind of hard to see how it could be a failure. Kiel is not going to be going to be more long-term number one than Martin O'Neill. One season he'll be away to England. Chris, thank you for that. Thomas Frank is shy. Whoever takes over, let's just hope there's changes. Our boring back passing safety crap style football. Yeah, I think that's. We played that under Martin O'Neill. We played it under Brendan Rodgers. The only time that we kind of played good football was when we were getting beat under Wilfred Nancy. The first half of games, it was fast attacking football. We need a manager that's going to come in and play fast attacking football. It's as simple as that. But we just need to wait and see. Are the people who go to games being taken for fools, and the manager and one player right at the last minute? Should Sinisalo be the number one for next season? Yes, all day long. O'Neill in, Nicholson out if Keane gets the job. Bellamy is aggressive in his press conference. He would bring the wrong headlines. I don't think it's going to be Bellamy. I think we'll get Robbie Keane. I hope it's Keane. So one job and he's failed as manager. Not a chance, Rob. Not a chance. When's the new merch coming out? I would say the day after that we sign the manager. Just saying, it's normal Celtic. Baz, what about you're putting a hat in the ring? I couldn't manage a football team. I could sit here and talk about it. Couldn't manage a football team. I'd be going to the piss. I'd be like, one lads, we're going to the piss. Fuck it. Fuck it. We're in a team bonding. If you think that Dubai was bad, I'd hear them away down, like, fuck it. I don't know, just go down to Heads Air or something. Keane meeting Dermot Desmond tonight, according to Radio Clyde. Yes, we have spoke about that at the beginning of the video. And I wonder where it will be. Will it be in Ireland or will it be in London? Robbie Keane is a short-term, I know, but he'd jump ship after one season for Spurs or Brighton. Anything like that, says a bag of cans. Would he, though? Would he? Would he if he had... There's a part of me that's thinking, if you could bring in guys that you know, like, and trust in football, and could this be the dream team to build a legacy at Celtic? Could this be the dream team to take Celtic to the 10. Do you know, there's maybe a bit that's going, do you know what? If we take the job, what's the objective? Do you know what is the objective? Is it just to try and win the title? Is getting into Europe a bonus, or are we going to have a good fucking shot? Are we going to have a good go at Europe? You know, are we going to just try and give it our best shot? You know, just give us an honest answer. And if Robbie Keane gets the answer back, yeah, we would like to have a good go at Europe. We want to see how far we can get. You then think, right, okay, what's the next sort of 3-year plan when it comes to Europe? Is it qualifying for the Champions League this year and then just maintaining group level? Is it qualifying for the Champions League next year and maintaining group level and trying to finish second? Is it trying to finish, last 16? Or is it, let's drop down into the Europa and let's try and see if we can win it? A lot of people say that Europa's our level. It wasn't last year. Will Martin O'Neill got some good results away in Europa. So maybe the fact is, look, it's the objective is the Champions League because we need that money. But if we do not get into the Champions League, we want to go as far as we can in the Europa. You've then got to weigh up what manager is most likely to bring you that kind of success over a consistent period of time, couple of years. If Martin O'Neill gets the job, it's short-termism. It's next year and that's it. We then go down the road a year later and we're then looking for another Celtic manager. Lewis Palmer, Celtic have rejected another Lewis Palmer offer from his club. They're still wanting the £3.5 million that they paid for Lewis Palmer. The Polish team are reluctant to pay. They've made another offer, but translate. Celtic rejected once again the proposal from Lex Ponzan for the transfer of Lewis Palmer. The Scottish side declared the negotiations are over with the Michael Nicholson's grew a set of balls. Michael Nicholson has grown a set of balls. If to stop talking chav talk, the missus says. The Scottish side declared that the negotiations are over with the Polish champions. This is how it stands. If Ponzan want to keep the Honduran star, they must pay the €4 million release clause, which is £3.5 million. This journalist from the area says he understands that they have 1 week to make the payment effective. The Honduran camp has had no further communication from the management team. Meanwhile, Seville continue to closely everything and seeing what's happening. Oh, that is interesting. Celtic are not letting him go on the cheap. They want the money back for him. Now you've got to remember, on the 17th of May, well in June now, the 17th of May, it was reported that Celtic had rejected an offer of €2.3 million, which is around about £1.9 million for Lewis Palmer. They rejected that offer. They want the full 3.5 million. Celtic are playing hard ball, which means Celtic won't be letting any players go on the cheap this year. So I think that people are underestimating what some Celtic players may be sold for. This could be a transfer window where we pull in big bucks, as they say. Right, let's jump into some more comments before we find O'Neill on one more year sounds good, but in reality it's a huge risk. As you've seen at the end, Martin O'Neill had only 8 solid, reliable players. Engels, Alistair Johnson being out didn't help either. The board will keep the same management team because they are lazy and always take the easiest option. There are no pros in Keane, whatever. Just negative, says Paul Baird. And Glaswegian Ian says, Paul, our fans are making it into a negative, nothing else. Well, if it is Robbie Keane, Baz, it will be the cheapest option. Keane out of work. The fact that he did step down from his job. A lot of people going on about Martin made miracles against the odds. Keane is too divisive at a time when we need unity. Neglect appointment if it happens. How would I don't get this. Okay, I get it. But the manager, whoever the manager is, isn't going to. If Martin O'Neill is made the manager, right? If Martin O'Neill is manager, he's not going to bring about unity on his own. If we've still got the same people in the board, if the board acts the same way as what they do every summer, therein lies the problem. So it is not the manager to bring the unity. The manager can only bring us success on the pitch. If Robbie Keane comes in and batters it, hits the ground running, gets us into the Champions League, boom, woof, straight away. Do you think that people will still be going on about his club that he managed for a short time? Everybody here would want the ex-Motherwell manager. He won in the Faroe Islands League and he finished 4th in Scotland. But people don't want Robbie Keane, who's actually won leagues. It is crazy, isn't it? That people would want a manager that finished 4th in the league, won nothing, not really achieved much in the game, but Robbie Keane's won stuff and they don't want him. All about politics, as they say, and we had enough conversation about politics in this channel. Is Beale still out of work? Oofed. O'Neill to get in the Champions League because it might be the last time for a number of years getting in. What if Robbie Keane gets us into the Champions League? Brown has got passion, says how it is. Do you think some of our players will like that? I think that I don't know how Robbie Keane manages, but he seems to have got some good results in Europe. Johnny Hayes is at Celtic down one of the lower teams, and Scott Brown, he knows what it takes to win. Would those three, how much youth would they bring through? How much youth could they develop? How much youth could they bring through into the first team on an ongoing basis? How much youth can they convince to stay at Celtic? How much youth can they convince to come to Celtic and prove that there's a pathway between getting into the B team and then in 3 or 4 years' time being a Celtic regular? Because none of those people came through the system. Robbie Keane didn't come through the system. Scott Brown didn't come through the system. Scott Brown's a Hibby, more than anything. Johnny Hayes didn't come through the system, but he's Celtic mad. Is it good enough to have Celtic people as the management team? That's the big question. You know that you've got a Celtic man in Martin O'Neill, but Robbie Keane will be the manager. Martin O'Neill will still be there in some capacity. It's looking like it. Celtic have been given jobs for the boys for years. Nothing new. mm, it's a hard one to. You want people. Is that why Celtic have been so successful? Should be the question. Is it because that you've got people at the club that get Celtic? Has that been the reason that we're so successful? Never mind talking about it, like jobs for the boys. We had a number two at Celtic that was a Celtic defender, and unfortunately, a really bad injury when he was away to Scotland ended his career. Don't know. He was potential Celtic captain material. He was the captain of the well, what was the B team at the time? But it wasn't the B team. It was the reserves league. You have people at the club that understand the psychology of what it means to win every single game. Look at when Wilfred Nancy come in. Wilfred Nancy comes in, and he 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 says publicly, "Yes, I get it. We want to win every game." That's a blasé comment that's management throw out there. Yeah, we want every. It's a, but no, you have to at Celtic. He proved to the Celtic support that he didn't get it. He didn't get that you must win every single game. Never mind losing 6 games and thinking, oh, we could still win the league. No, 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 no. Too late, mate. You've lost 6 games. That doesn't happen at Celtic. You do not lose 6 games in a month at Celtic and get away with it. You don't get it. He can come out in public and say whatever he wants months down the line. I could have still won the league with Celtic. You have to have people there that get it. And if it's jobs, if that's seen as jobs for the boys, it's people that get Celtic. And I think that kind of goes on at every club, not just Celtic. You've got a core of backroom staff. You've got a core of ex players, that are litter the team. I think it happens at every level, doesn't it? It's O'Neill's team. Is it O'Neill's team? Dermot Desmond McGilly's pal Keen, a bumper deal. Wait and see. If Brown is a number, he should do the Bruni in front of the greeting face Derek McInnes and roll. The objective of the board and Reynolds and Keane will to be keep the fans divide in place, and the two fingers to the fans. Basically, know your place and shut up. I think that Paul, that's the objective of the Celtic board anyway. Don't know. It's just pay your money and let us run the club. You're only customers. You don't have a say. You may think that you do, but we run this place on a day-to-day business. You turn up once a week, once a fortnight, some points of the season, and demand that we do this and we do that. I know what I'd be saying. I'd be going, get yourselves carted, you charlatans. Oh man. If it's true about Keane, I hope the fans let him know how we don't want him as Dermot doing the total opposite of the fans. So I don't want to see Keane anywhere near Celtic Park. This is going to just go on and on. And it's interesting because I think that you've got a lot of fans that will go, yeah, why not Robbie Keane? Why not? Why not? It'll be interesting to see how this one. Bolton have just signed Celtic target David Watson. Couldn't have been a Celtic target then if they've signed him, because Celtic. Greeting from sunny Toronto. What a day yesterday. So what have I missed? What time is it in Toronto? Tonto. I replied to your thing last night. I've no managed to go in to see if you replied back to me. That was a long day travelling, mate, wasn't it? Oh, I've done that as well. I've done that. But anyway, I do not believe that Martin O'Neill will be interested in a chairman's job. Why not? Boring football wins leagues. The proof is in the pudding. Rodgers and Martin O'Neill both done decent in Europe. What the fuck's Paddy ever done? Yeah, I know. Whoever said Paddy McCourt, whoever started that rumour, absolute bonkers. Brendan, there was no purpose to the whole scales. Michael, go to Trusty. Yeah. Let's not even talk about that. If Brown is number 2, then he should do the Brunette McKinnon. If we've not had that one up already, I'm going to jump to the end of the comments. Apologise, I'm not putting them all out. Did Robbie Keane fire the Rockets for fuck's sake? God, no. Will Keane get money? 1000%. He's Dermot Desmond's pal. What was that? Keep Israel flag off the channel. Who did somebody put an Israel flag on the channel? Paul, I'm sure that you'll take that down straight away. Not having none of that shite on the channel. If you voted Labour in the 1990s or early 2000s, you shouldn't be anywhere near Celtic Park. See how stupid that logic sounds. I didn't vote Labour then. Oh, no, I did. The only time I voted Labour was to get Tony Blair in power. I voted Labour once. Yeah, you're gone. So I was one, isn't there? I was one. Keep Palestine flags off the channel, and he puts up Israel flags and he's banned. He subscribed just for that. What a shame. What a shame. Never mind. Never mind. It is what it is. You know, you get people in. I bet it's his first comment on the channel. Channel activity. No, he's had a few comments, but sorry, mate. Is what it is. Can't be having shit like that on the channel. Sorry. Is what it is. Anyway, that has me done and dusted for this evening. Have an absolutely fantastic day, as I suspected. There has been no announcement by Celtic as manager, and I didn't expect there to be. We'll wait and see what happens. I think it'll happen in the next 48 hours. Roll on Wednesday, the day that we'll get the new manager. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Where the hell are we? We're still live. Where's the screen? I've got too many screens open. There we go. See you later.